Religion for the wrong reasons. I'm making this video as a counterpoint to my previous video, Atheism for the right reasons. I consider myself a fairly tolerant person, and I have a lot of respect for people whose viewpoints, religious and otherwise, are well thought out, though they may not necessarily be the ones I agree with. But my pet peeve is people who are willing to blindly put their faith and trust in views that they themselves have not reasoned out. Those that are willing to accept and internalize whatever is told to them. So here are several reasons that I consider insufficient for following any religious faith. Number 1. Someone shouldn't be religious for the sole sake of continuing the traditions of their youth. It's an important step in the coming-of-age process to become autonomous and develop one's own educated opinions of the world. Following any belief system is a choice. It's not a destiny or a fate or an immutable consequence of one's birth. It's a person's right to challenge the beliefs with which he or she was raised. If a person is sufficiently educated and has put critical thought into examining his or her belief system as well as has been exposed to other forms of belief or lack of belief, and that person still finds the proof of his or her faith sufficient, I have to respect that. Number 2. Someone shouldn't belong to a religion just to gain acceptance or fill a void of loneliness or unhappiness in their life. The obvious example that comes to mind for this would be those that willingly or unwillingly get suckered into cults or cult-like religions. Jehovah's Witnesses and Scientologists, I'm talking to you. It's hardly surprising that people who are recovering from some sort of addiction, drugs or alcohol, or are in prison and have little freedom on how to live their daily lives, latch onto religion to fill the emptiness previously filled by getting drunk, getting high, or living whatever lifestyle they cannot live anymore. But look at this reason in a much broader sense. In my opinion, the way churches market themselves a lot of the times is to create advertisements that play into the so-called void that some people may feel they have in their lives. The message of these ads, whether explicit or just subliminal, goes something like this. Hey you there, do you feel like your life lacks purpose, lacks direction? Do you feel like your relationship with your family and friends are falling apart, or that something's missing? Fill that void with God, a loving community, and a false sense of well-being and assurance. Don't forget to bring your wallet. Someone shouldn't be religious just because they want to cling to the teachings or promises of that faith. Like, for example, the belief that if you believe in God, you're going to heaven, just in case it exists. Who cares if you follow that religion's teachings, or even go to religious services, or ever put 1 cent of your well-deserved paycheck into the collection basket? Faith is enough. So if you have that, God will be at your beck and call whenever a family friend gets into a serious accident, or when you don't have enough money to pay your rent, or when you and your partner are trying to have a baby but it's not working, or when you didn't study for that test but just need a passing grade to pass that class, right? Open your eyes and examine all of your religion's teachings. Do you believe all the teachings that were divinely prescribed, and are you prepared to follow them all? What if this means you'll have to save sex for marriage? That you'll have to hate gays because the Bible says so? That you can't use birth control because every act of fornication has to be open to the possibility of creating new life to please God? That you'll have to rush out and convert all your friends unless you want them to burn in hell? However, a caveat to this. Some of the comments I've gotten have been from folks saying that their religion teaches them values of compassion, mercy, etc. Aren't those values already inside of you? If you weren't a member of your current religion, would you stop acting that way? I tend to relate the situation to the situation in which us Westerners try to emulate Eastern lifestyles and spirituality, particularly Buddhism and Zen Buddhism. We plant bonsai trees. We decorate our homes using feng shui. We practice yoga. I myself practice yoga daily. I really like it. It's relaxing. It helps me improve my flexibility and breathing patterns. But we're not Buddhists. We just use Eastern practices to channel what's already inside of us. A desire to relax, a desire to reflect, a desire to live in harmony. It's fine to admire Christianity for its values, or to admire specific people who are Christian for their deeds. But the potential for those values and deeds already lies within you. The desire to help others, the desire to be strong in times of crisis. No religion created those values, and no religion owns the right to practice them. And finally, a flip side to number 3. Number 4, you shouldn't be religious just so you can justify behavior that's disgusting, or reprehensible, or abusive and hurtful toward others. If some mass murderer goes on a rampant killing spree because God made him do it, or he was just doing God's will, that isn't any excuse at all. Every human being has the power to control his or her own life. There is no destiny, no he made me do it, no big man or woman in the sky playing The Sims with every person on earth as a character trapped inside the game. I'm sure you can think off the top of your head of at least a few folks who promoted hate under the guise of religious righteousness. And I'm sure you can also think of those who've turned out to be hypocrites and practice exactly what they preach against. So that's all for now. And sorry for not making videos for the last few weeks. A lot has happened. I've had finals. I turned 21. Woohoo! And I've decided to continue the voice narration. This time it was scripted, so hopefully that reduces the ums and the ands. So feel free to leave comments. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.